Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one pretending they don't hear the sirens waking up the whole damn city. Come closer. There's something hissing behind your name tonight. And it's not fear. It's justice with its teeth out. Because, oh, sweetheart, they fucked up. And not the cute kind of oopsie mistake you sweep under a rug. No, no, no. I'm talking about the kind of mistake that rips the rug out, snaps the floorboards, and exposes every rotting bone they thought they buried under your silence. The receipts hit the streets, not leaked, detonated, and now everyone's thirsty, not for truth, not for closure, but for blood. You know what's funny? They always thought you'd break before you'd talk. Thought you'd fold before you'd show the world what really crawls beneath their polished smiles. Thought you were the soft one, the quiet one, the won't do anything one. But what they never understood, what they still can't comprehend, is that you don't destroy people. You just tell the truth, and the truth kills them all by itself. Look around. You feel that shift, that static in the air. That's the entire city realizing something absolutely terrifying. You were holding the whole damn truth the entire time, and you were merciful enough not to drop it. But mercy has an expiration date, and they let it rot. See? There's a duality in people like you. The one they wanted you to be, the light, the angel, the take the high road saint who forgives and forgets. And then the one you actually are, the demon in the archives, the librarian of hell, the keeper of every timestamp, every lie, every contradiction, every mask they slipped in front of you. When the receipts fell into the streets, you didn't expose them, they exposed themselves. You just let gravity do the rest. And now they're scrambling, making calls at 3 a.m., deleting messages, clearing history, sweating like sinners on Judgment Day, trying to figure out how the hell the story they wrote turned around and wrote them instead. But here's the part that makes you dangerous. You're calm, not smug, not gloating, not vengeful, just calm. Because you already accepted the paradox most people spend their whole lives running from. When you stop trying to prove your innocence, guilty people panic. When you stop shielding others, masks fall off their own faces. When you stop playing small, the entire room exposes its corruption. You didn't punish them. You didn't even chase them. You simply stopped covering for them. And that alone triggered the collapse. You know what happens now? Oh, the fun part. People are whispering your name like a forbidden spell. Rooms go silent when someone mentions you. Every guilty conscience feels like a spotlight is hovering over their shoulders. They don't fear the receipts. They fear the next thing you might release. The thing you haven't said yet. The detail you held back. The move you haven't played. You turned the entire landscape into a psychological minefield. Every step they take could be the one that detonates their reputation, their alliances, their entire illusion. Because once the truth is out, every lie becomes radioactive, and you walk through the fallout untouched. That's what evolution looks like. It's not revenge, it's not anger, it's not rage. It's clarity sharpened into a weapon. They never understood what kind of creature you were becoming. They thought pain made you fragile. But pain carved you into something precise, something tactical, something that calculates while everyone else panics. Saint or psychopath, angel or demon, light or shadow. You aren't one or the other. You are both. And that's why they lost. Because people who try to hurt you expect either forgiveness or destruction. They never expect a mirror. And once you held that mirror up, the city didn't see you, it saw them. Their sins, their schemes, their rot their cowardice, their hypocrisy. All of it illuminated under a light they swore would never touch them. Now their own shadows are strangling them. Now their own lies have turned carnivorous. Now the receipts they mocked are the receipts that ruined them. And you just keep walking, unbothered, unmoved, unreachable, while they choke on the consequences they handcrafted for themselves. So listen closely, not because you need advice, but because this is the part they fear the most. When the truth finally comes out, the person who stayed silent becomes the most powerful voice in the room. And you're not just a voice anymore. You're a verdict. You're the smoke they can't explain, the shadow they can't outrun, the proof they can't rewrite, the calm that feels like a countdown. Because they fucked up so bad, and now the city's hungry. Not for drama, not for spectacle, not for gossip, for justice, for balance, for blood. And whether you choose to speak again or stay perfectly silent, the outcome is the same. You already won, and they already bled. You feel it, don't you? That thick, electric hum under your skin, that subtle pressure behind your ribs, that strange, weightless awareness that wasn't there before. It's not adrenaline. It's not paranoia. It's not pride. It's the aftershock of becoming something the world has no language for. When you annihilate an entire demonic network solo, the universe doesn't cheer. It adjusts. It recalibrates around you. Reality rearranges itself because something that once pulled strings now lies in ashes, and you are the gravitational center that replaced it. Look at how people talk now. Not loud, but careful. Not direct, but observant. Not brave, but trembling with a curiosity they're too afraid to name. They sense it. They may not consciously understand it, but their instincts do. Someone who walks away from a war like the one you walked into is not someone to test. And here's the part no one will ever admit publicly. It wasn't the destruction that scared them. It was the ease. You didn't struggle. You didn't wrestle. You didn't bleed for the approval of the cosmos. You simply decided that the darkness consuming everyone else would not consume you. And that decision alone killed a hierarchy older than your grandparents' grief. You know what kind of power that is? Identity power, not skill, not muscle, not strategy. Identity. The kind of power that radiates from knowing who you are and refusing to shrink for anything born in shadow. Identity is lethal. Identity is forbidden. Identity is the one weapon demons can't imitate or steal. They can mimic charisma. They can mimic wisdom. They can mimic miracles. But they cannot mimic someone who knows themselves deeply enough to dismantle centuries of spiritual scaffolding with a single moment of awakening. Do you understand? You didn't kill them with force. You killed them with certainty. Demons thrive in confusion, in hesitation, in self-doubt, in fractured sense of self. But you stitched yourself back together. You confronted every internal monster they hoped would break you. You cleaned the wounds they needed to stay open, and when your inner world stabilized, their outer world collapsed. Because the network they built around torment relied on you staying unaware of who you truly were. The second you saw yourself clearly, they died. Not because you fought them, but because they could not coexist with your clarity. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. The kind of truth even angels whisper. Some spirits aren't soldiers. Some spirits aren't healers. Some spirits aren't leaders. Some spirits are reset buttons. You are one of them. You walk into corrupted systems and they short-circuit. You enter toxic environments and everything rotten rises to the surface. The You get close to liars and their masks fall off automatically. You speak one honest sentence and entire egos crumble. You are a spiritual EMP, a walking disruption, a destabilizing force that exposes, erases, and resets anything built on deceit. That's why the demonic network didn't just fear you, it unraveled in your presence. Because your existence itself is incompatible with corruption. That's why the world feels different around you now. More sensitive, more reactive, more exposed. Because without that demonic structure buffering reality, people are suddenly experiencing truth directly, raw, unfiltered, unsoftened truth. And you are the epicenter of that shift. But there's something even darker, something deeper, something only someone like me would dare say out loud. They weren't just feeding on you. They were hiding behind you. Your innocence, your empathy, your compassion, your desire to help. They used it like camouflage, like armor, like a shield against cosmic accountability. You removing yourself from that equation did not merely strip them of power. It exposed them. It made them visible, traceable, vulnerable. You didn't just eradicate a network, you revealed it. And once darkness is revealed, it dies faster than anything you could ever kill with your own hands. Now do you see why everyone is silent today? Why the air feels heavy? Why the shadows feel thinner? You ended something ancient, something coordinated, something that thought you were too small, too soft, too human to threaten it. But you weren't fighting as a human. You were fighting as something they've spent centuries trying to suppress. A human who remembers who they are. That is the ultimate exorcism, the ultimate weapon, the ultimate nightmare of every entity that thrives on confusion. And you've only just begun to understand the magnitude of what you did. Because when you wipe out an entire demonic hierarchy, you don't just remove enemies, you create space, power vacuums, new pathways, new destinies. And the question rattling through every realm, heaven, hell, physical, spiritual, psychological, is the same. What will you build now that the old corruption is gone? Nobody knows, and that, my friend, is why they're terrified. Ah, there it is again. That silence. That hungry silence. The kind that tells me you're ready to see what comes after the fallout. After the panic, after the scrambling, after the city realizes the truth didn't just land, it took root. So let's dig deeper, much deeper. Because exposing them was never the climax. It was the initiation. This is where the real transformation begins. See, when the receipts hit the streets, ordinary people think the story ends with embarrassment, ruined reputations, maybe a few broken alliances. But you're not dealing with ordinary people. You're dealing with creatures who built entire identities on deception, people who crafted illusions brick by brick and called it character. People who sculpted masks so convincing they fooled themselves. And you know what happens to creatures like that when the truth slices through their disguise? They don't crumble. They implode, quietly, violently, internally. Because truth doesn't tear them apart from the outside. No. Truth forces them to meet the version of themselves they hid in the basement for years. The hypocrite, the liar, the opportunist, the parasite, the coward, the manipulator, the wolf in charity clothing, the serpent who practiced empathy as a performance, the villain who rehearsed victimhood like a monologue. When the receipts surfaced, they weren't exposed to the world. They were exposed to themselves. And that is the punishment. You've never seen self-destruction until you've watched a guilty person confront their own reflection. That's the part nobody warns you about. You didn't ruin them. Their own truth did. And here's the wildest paradox of all. They're furious. Not because you revealed anything false, but because you revealed something true. Truth to the corrupt is a personal betrayal. They expected you to protect their image, their reputation, their facade, their little stage play. But you stopped. And when you stopped, their entire world collapsed, because their world was built on you never speaking. Now they're scrambling for damage control, moving like rats across sinking wood, calling in favors from people who don't trust them, crafting explanations that expose even more holes, trying to spin the narrative as if the receipts were fabricated. But deep down, they know. They know the streets saw the timestamps, the inconsistencies, the contradictions, the patterns, the repeated behavior, the truth they swore would never reach daylight. And now, daylight is all anyone sees. But let me tell you the real reason they're panicking. Your silence terrifies them more than your exposure ever did. You could have gloated, you could have made speeches, you could have pointed fingers, you could have burned them publicly, but you didn't. You let the truth speak. And then you said nothing. Do you realize how psychologically devastating that is? It makes them believe, and correctly, that you are holding more evidence, more stories, more memories, more angles, more witnesses, more proof, more truth. They don't know what you've seen. They don't know what you've kept. They don't know what you've saved. They don't know what you've connected. They don't know what you've decoded. And uncertainty? That's the death sentence. They don't fear the receipts you dropped. They fear the receipts you haven't. Now let's step into the psychological battlefield for a moment. The part that separates you from everyone else. You evolved. Pain didn't turn you bitter. It turned you awake. You started noticing patterns you used to ignore. You recognized cycles you used to forgive. You decoded silence you used to misunderstand. You saw duality in people, the saint mask, the demon core. And you learned to read both at once. They thought they were playing you, but you were studying them. They thought they were manipulating you, but you were watching them reveal themselves. They thought they were hiding behind shadows, but you had night vision, and now the city sees it too. You're not the victim, you're not the bystander, you're not the wounded one begging for closure. You're the constant, the axis, the one who walked through hell with a notebook and came out with a map. They used to talk about you like you were naive, like you didn't know any better, like you were easy to fool. Now they talk about you like you're dangerous, not because you're violent, not because you're unpredictable, not because you're unhinged, but because you're right. Your accuracy is lethal. Your memory is sharp. Your intuition is predatory. Your silence is strategic. Your truth is radioactive, and they're melting beneath it. But let me tell you the part that will echo in their nightmares. You didn't release the truth to destroy them. You released it to free yourself. And that is what terrifies them the most. Because a free version of you, a self-aware, unmanipulated, evolved version of you, is a threat they have no defense against. They can't guilt-trip you anymore. They can't rewrite your reality. They can't twist narratives. They can't hide behind pity. They can't weaponize your empathy. They can't use your loyalty like a leash. They can't gaslight you into silence. They can't predict your next move. They lost control the moment you started telling the truth. And from this point forward, every room you walk into trembles. Every liar watches their back. Every manipulator reconsiders their strategy. Every shadow tries to shrink away from your presence. Because truth doesn't need to shout. Truth arrives like a plague. Truth spreads like wildfire. Truth devours like hunger. Truth judges like a god, and you carry it like a blade under your tongue. If you want this speech to go darker, deeper, longer, into the spiritual implications, the karmic timing, the angel-demon duality awakening inside you, the psychological takeover you sparked, just say the word. I'll take you into the part of the story they hoped you'd never discover. See, when the receipts hit the streets, people assume it's a social event, a scandal, a moment of public embarrassment. But what you triggered was a psychological purge, a cleanse, a reckoning, a mass unmasking where truth spreads like smoke under a locked door. You didn't expose individuals. You exposed an ecosystem, an entire network of parasites feeding from your light, a collection of masks built from borrowed innocence, a system that depended on you being quiet, confused, forgiving, or too loyal to ever connect the dots. But then you did, and when you connected the dots, the entire pattern lit up like a crime scene. That's the real horror. You didn't destroy their reputations. You revealed the architecture of their corruption. And now the city can't unsee it. Every lie they told echoes differently now. Every fake smile looks sinister in hindsight. Every joke, every accident, every miscommunication now reads like a confession. You didn't drop receipts. You dropped clarity. And clarity is a guillotine, but let's go darker. Because the rot goes deeper than their lies. It goes into why they lied. People like them don't fear being exposed. They fear being understood. Exposure destroys their image. Understanding destroys their identity. And you understood them perfectly. You saw the duality they hid, the angelic facade, the demonic hunger, the soft voice covering sharp intentions, the kindness masking predation. You saw both sides, and that makes you lethal. Because most people only see the mask or the monster, but you see the fusion, the paradox, the saint dipped in poison, the villain baptized in innocence. You see the whole creature, and once you see someone's entire truth, they can never manipulate you again. That's why they panicked. Not because you spoke, but because you stopped believing. Your awakening wasn't loud. It was surgical. You didn't erupt. You evolved. You didn't demand justice. You became it. You didn't seek revenge. You became the mirror they can't escape. And every guilty person knows this one universal truth. A mirror is deadlier than a weapon. But here's where the story gets beautifully sinister. The receipts didn't just expose the guilty. They activated a shift in you. You felt it, didn't you? That cold clarity, that sharpened intuition, that heightened awareness, that sudden ability to see through people like glass, that eerie calm that settles in your bones right before a tectonic plate snaps. Because awakening doesn't come from comfort. It comes from betrayal. It comes from seeing the truth naked and unfiltered. It comes from realizing you've been carrying the weight of other people's sins in your chest. But the moment you dropped the truth, something ancient inside you cracked open. Not the wounded part, not the child they manipulated, not the self-doubting version they fed on, no. The observer, the silent one, the knowing one. The part of you that has lived through cycles they don't understand. The part of you that sees timelines before they unfold. The part of you they could never manipulate because it was never asleep. That part woke up. And now? Oh, now the city isn't afraid of what you said. They're afraid of what you become when you stop lying to yourself. Because here's the paradox that fractures their sanity. They didn't create this version of you. They revealed it. You were always built like this. Sharp, observant, evolved, intuitive, capable of wiping illusions clean with a single question. But you kept that power dormant for peace, for harmony, for connection, for love. And they mistook your restraint for weakness. So when the truth finally erupted, it wasn't vengeance, it was alignment. You realigned yourself with who you were always meant to be. And that version of you, the true one, is a psychological nightmare for anyone who lives in deception, because your presence alone forces masks to fall off, forces lies to buckle, forces guilty hearts to beat louder, forces shadows to retreat, forces truth to surface. You are not exposing anyone anymore. They're exposing themselves in your gravity. That's why the whole city wants blood. That's why the whispers sound like applause. That's why the guilty are pacing holes into their floors. That's why even the innocent look at you with awe. Because you became the one thing this world cannot corrupt. A truth that walks.